Hello everyone, this is the week 1 session for IS127, or the recording actually. Textbook, Notepad++, and student files. So make sure you have the correct book. Also download, install Notepad++. Here's the link, but it's also in the week 1 folder in Blackboard, which is in Classroom. Download the student files. Those are found in week 1, but they're also attached to each assignment in the various weeks. So if you don't do it now, you can do it later. The grading will be done Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday following the Sunday due date. I usually don't start grading until the week is complete, especially on discussions. And I do the best I can to get it done on Monday and Tuesday. Sometimes I don't, depending on the assignments and other things. So, but I will try. They have to be done by Wednesday. So, the late policy, there is a 7-day grace period, which is provided for late homework. So if you don't get it done on the Sunday due date, you have 7 days to turn it in from that Sunday. So the next Sunday. There will, however, be a 20% late penalty. Any work received after the 7-day grace period will receive a 0. If you have some reason that you feel you should have a makeup, you can look at the makeup policy. Those occasions are rare. It's not like something that you can just say, well, my computer crashed. You should have a contingency plan. So it's a good idea if you start earlier in the week. No discussion posts are accepted after the week is complete because they are tied to the attendance. Corrections can be made on the assignments but not on the discussions. Also the midterm in this class, I said or the midterm, but it's actually a project, so I do allow corrections on that. I will post feedback when I grade your assignment. That will help you to know what to do for corrections. If you don't understand my feedback, please let me know. Also, even though I give you feedback on the discussions and you can't correct them, it will help you with the following weeks. So I told you that attendance is tied to the discussions. That's how you get your participation. So if you participate in the discussions, you're going to get your attendance and participation for every week. So that's why the discussions are really important. You cannot get attendance or participation just by logging in. You either have to post an assignment, post to the discussion, or take a quiz. And since we don't have any quizzes in this class, you're going to have to do the assignment or the discussion to get participation. If you don't participate, you could risk being withdrawn from the class. The week 1 reading is chapter 1 and chapter 2. Be sure to work along as you read each chapter. That's going to help you when you come to the assignments. You use Notepad++ for all HTML assignments. It's a free download and it doesn't take very much to install. And you just use the default. It's a really quick install. You can use Notepad, but Notepad++ is so much easier because it gives you line numbers and it's color coordinated. You'll find that you'll like it too. The week 1 discussion, the initial response is due on Friday this week since we started late, but you will still have the 3 replies on Sunday. The topic this week is, why do you suppose HTML have changed the internet from a little-known academic tool into a household technology that is now used by people all over the world? What is the value of learning HTML when there are several software packages available that can create web pages without requiring the user to know HTML? Respond to the main question by, I should have taken that off. Respond to the main question by Friday, and then reply to your peers by Sunday. Initial responses must be 100 words and at least one APA formatted reference. You must also use in-text citation for it to be considered an APA reference. Initial posts must address the topic. You can't just talk about anything and expect full credit. So make sure you check your spelling and grammar. I usually copy the initial post into Word, and that's how I check the spelling. I use on a paper that you write, I would use Grammarly, but not usually on the discussion. I do check the discussions for plagiarism, so make sure that you are properly citing your work. Replies should be about 65 words each. I don't really count the words on that. I do count the words on the initial post. But if you have 3 or 4 sentences, that's about a good reply. Remember, no discussion posts allowed after the week is done. And please do not submit a document as your discussion initial post. I will not accept it. It's too difficult if people want to check their phone to have to open a document. So please, even if you type it in Word, please copy and paste it into the message area. If you send me a document, I will give you a 0. Okay, I wanted to go over APA referencing because I'm really big on APA referencing. I do check for plagiarism. I do expect you to use APA references. My main source is the HU APA tip sheet. It's found in the Library tab under Formatting and Citation. It's a PDF file. Just download it. Page 3 is usually for books, and page 6 is for web articles. The full reference should be at the bottom of the discussion post, and in-text citation is within the post, telling me what information you got from your source. So if you have one reference, you have to have one in-text citation. If you have 2 references, then you've got to have 2 in-text citation. Even if you just use the idea from that website, you have to have in-text citation and a full reference. It's just a requirement. So the book references that I will allow, this is the print book and this is the ebook. Either one of those will work. Then the in-text citation for the book is author, year. Now for a book, if you use a direct quote, it must be in quotation marks and it should have the page number in the in-text citation. On a website, you can't give them page numbers, so you usually don't have them. I don't require you to do the paragraph, but that is one way of doing it. But paragraphs usually aren't numbered either, so as long as you have the author or title and the date, you'll be fine. I want to continue talking about APA references because if you are doing a website article, it depends on whether there's an author or not. If there's an author listed, the author is first, then the date of publication, and that means when the article was posted or when it was updated, either of those dates. And if you don't see either of those dates, you use ND for no date. Then you give the title and retrieve from URL. If no author is listed, then you use the title page, date of publication, or ND if no date is given, retrieved on date from URL. And retrieved on date means the day you're accessing the information. You must have a date field, so don't ever just leave that field off. Also, do not use the copyright date at the bottom. That's the site copyright. You're looking for the published date. So if it's not there, just use ND. Do not use the site title, use the page title. So for instance, if you go to Microsoft.com and you have an article, you use the article title, not Microsoft.com. And a lot of times the title will be on the tab. Sometimes it's a little different. But if it's what's stated on the tab, I will accept that. You must give the full URL so that when I click on that URL, I see the article that you are referencing. So if you have an article from Microsoft and you just give me Microsoft.com, that is not considered a full URL. If you have a database from the library, such as ProQuest, they provide a cite tool. So this is a ProQuest, and this is the cite tool. It's usually on the right, depending on the database. Make sure you've picked APA 6, and then you just have to copy and paste the reference, and I will accept that. And then of course, your in-text citation would be author, year, or if it doesn't have an author, then it's the title and the year, or ND. So in the in-text citation, you also have to include your year. Now, plagiarism has kind of been a problem, and it is an act of fraud. It involves both stealing someone else's work and lying about it afterward, because when you present a post that is copied without any references, you're saying to me that it's your work. When I find out that it's somebody else's work, then that is plagiarism, and I will give you a 0. So if you copy people's work, you must have it in quotes, and you must have a reference, which includes the full reference in the in-text. And you, in a discussion post, you should not have more than a couple of sentences that are actually copied word for word. Never should you turn in a whole post that is word for word, even if you put quotes around the whole thing. That is too much. You're trying to use your words to talk about this subject, so you just want to use direct quotes to make a point, so maybe a couple of sentences. You also must have quotation marks around it if it's a direct quote, which means word for word. If you paraphrase into your own words, that means you changing the words. So if you take a quote and you change the first word, that is not paraphrasing. That still is a direct quote, minus that one changed word. So you make sure that you paraphrase better, or, just use a direct quote. So either you're required to have a full reference and in-text citation. And I did check your work at this website. If you want to go there, it's free to check it so many times, and then I think you have to pay or have an account. But there are other free sites that you can use. The reason I don't use some of the others is because after you check it a couple of times, it starts making you feel in like you're not a robot. That's why I like this one. And so a discussion post that has plagiarism will receive an automatic 0 for the whole post, the whole discussion. The week 1 assignment is due on Sunday. You're to open the W1A1 Apply O2 Word document. It's attached to the assignment. You're to answer the questions and provide the URL from where you found the answer. Now this is a little different because it doesn't say to provide APA referencing. So if you did a copy of the entire definition and provided the URL, that would be fine, because this is not an APA assignment. It doesn't say anything about APA. But I do require the full URL so that I can see the definition that you've gotten. So word for word definitions are fine in this instance, even if you get them out of the book. So just make sure you have the URL. So if you get them out of the book, then you would use the URL of the ebook. And you can get that by checking your APA for your ebook. I do allow corrections for 2 weeks after the due date. Of course, with week 6, it's only 1 day, and week 7 is like 2 days after. So, If you have any questions, please let me know. And then, of course, here's my references. I have a reference page to go with my in-text citation. I'm really here to help, and I wish you would call me or send me an email or even text me if you have questions or if you need help. If you think that any of this is confusing, I'll be glad to explain it better. That's all I have for today, so good luck.